What's up, everyone? Back with another deck tech, and this is gonna be my blue-white deck that I've been playing for like the past 3 events I've gone to. I've done well at some bigger tournaments recently, but I'm an FNM player at heart, and I'm also a competitive player. And this is a very good deck I want to talk about, and I want to talk about why I switched from blue-white-red to blue-white. I want to talk about some of the matchups. I want to talk about the role of the game, and I want to talk about some of my decisions and the cards I'm making. And I want to talk about some of my results, and I want to tell you why you should play blue-white. So we're just going to get right into it. We're going to start with the creatures. We have 3 Restoration Angel and 3 Augur of Bolas. No 4-ofs in either of these slots. Augur can sometimes whiffs far more often in this deck than blue-red. It's worse in this deck. It's still just a wall, and that's really the role Restoration Angel is playing. In blue-red, it was the beater. It was the real win condition. Aetherling was like a secondary win condition. I mean, usually you could win games with Aetherling, but it was definitely never out of the question to win with Restoration Angel. In this, it's a blocker. It's a 3-4 wall that's just going to get in the way, have some synergy with Augur and such. But I'll tell you what you could do if you really want to run the 4-4 split. And then 2 Aetherling. Not many people seem to agree with this. Most people I've talked to, like the one of. I don't know, you're a control deck. Like, I want to up my chances of drawing this, and unlike in past games, in like blue-white-red, in the blue-white-red control list I used to run, I never have found myself having in my opener and be like, oh man, I can't win this. Like, you have just so many draw spells in this deck and so much like manipulation. Like, it's never usually going to be a problem that you draw one of your Aetherlings. I'd rather always draw both than have to like wait forever to draw one. I like the 2 Aetherlings. It ups your chances. It's great against the mid-range matchup. You can just board one out against the aggro matchups, because even in the aggro matchups, this is your win condition. It's rarely Restoration Angel. 1 Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster's just gotten strictly worse. It's a real bummer. It makes me sad. It makes me sad that Snapcaster's gotten worse enough that he's a one-of. And, to be fair, some lists aren't even running him. You know, I mean, scavenging, like, Wizards has made it this way, though. They don't want cards like Snapcaster Mage to be good. They want cards like Scavenging Ooze to be good. They want cards like Thundermaw Hellkite to be good. They want big creatures. They're trying to bring in a new audience of kids and teenagers that are coming into the game, and they want, you know, they're not going to want to hear about, oh, this guy's so good, he can flashback a spell. They want to hear, you know, what big guy can I play, you know? And so maybe that hurts Snapcaster, but at the same time, he's still pretty good. I like him as a one-of. He can just blow him out. He can be a blocker in the aggro matchups. But I'll also talk about if you don't want to play Snapcaster, why that's okay, and why what you could also do. And the one-of Tamiyo, some are running Jace. My brother's using the 2 Jace Architect of Thoughts. Tamiyo is perfectly fine. It defends itself. It instantly brings attention. It's strictly better against the mid-range matchups, worse against the control matchups. But I think mid-range is far more common, so I'm not actually that worried about it. Plus Tamiyo can just, I've ultimated a Tamiyo twice. It's been pretty awesome, having that infinite cards. And it requires an instant answer. Usually you're not going to play it tap out for it, but there are some situations where it is going to happen. And I like Tamiyo, but really quickly before I move on, I'm going to talk about this. You could cut both of these to play an extra Snapcaster and Augur. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think that's that necessary, but if you want to play a more mid-rangey game, you don't want to play the beatdown, or you do want to play more of a beatdown role, like in the blue-red deck and such, it'd be perfectly reasonable to cut Snapcaster and Tamiyo for another Angel, another Augur, and play the more, you know, mid-range type deck. I don't agree, but that's what you could do. I like my little setup here. You're the control deck in this type of deck way more often. Then we move on to the draw spells. We obviously have Force Sphinx Revelation. I've been telling everyone to run Force Sphinx Revelation forever, and now the blue-white deck comes out and everyone's running Force Sphinx Revelation. It's like, well, yeah, why wouldn't you run Force Sphinx Revelation? Well, I was doing that before. Why are some decks still running 3? It doesn't make any sense. This is literally, I can't tell you, I've won games. Just like, okay, I stopped your early aggression. Rev for 3. Yep, that's pretty much it. You know, Revelation's just so good, and if you're gonna say, well, it's bad against the aggro matchups, then board it out. That's like, oh, well, how many Jason Mind Sculptors are you playing? Oh, I'm playing 3. Why are you only playing 3? Well, it's bad against the aggro matchups. It's just as dumb. That's how good this card is for the blue decks in this standard. Maybe not as dominant as Jace, but as far as importance, there's no more important blue card right now. And there's no reason you shouldn't be running 4. 4 Azorius Charm, just no idea why this is a 3 of in some lists either. This card does everything. Draw a card, lifelink. I believe in my millions of deck techs involving blue-white, I've gushed about this card enough. So I'm just going to skip it this time and just say, this is your main form of creature removal, play 4 of. 4 thing choice. Again, you're more of the control deck. Blue-white red, I learned more and more as I played it, was less of a control deck, more of a tempo deck, mid-range deck. And as such, maybe 4 thing choice wasn't the right way to go. I went with 4, and in hindsight, maybe it wasn't correct. But I went that direction. And I had good results with it. This is definitely a deck where you need 4. You're not ever going to be playing the mid-range role, and there are times when I've kept in 4 think choice against aggro decks. Like, you need think choice in this deck. And I can explain why later on. You have 6 counter spells. We're moving on to the counter spells and answers set. 2 Syncopate, 2 Essence Scatter, 2 Dissipate. Some people like to cut Syncopate for Rewind, and I think that's incorrect. Rewind, I just don't think that card's good enough. I played it at Baltimore in my blue red deck. I mean, it was fine, but I don't know. Especially not in this deck. You're not going to be getting nearly as much value of it. You have 1 less Restoration Angel. You're playing more in your own turn than you were before. As usual, the card we want to talk about here, though, is Essence Scatter. Essence Scatter is really good right now, and I highly recommend it. So many creatures that you want to counter. And just like when your opponent goes for that, they're like, turn 1 Arbor Elf, turn 2 Boros Reckoner, or something insane like that, or like turn 2 Flinthoof War. The satisfaction of like Essence Scattering that, or like a Stringer Rootgeist, endless, man, endless. I can't even tell you. Anticipate's, of course, still good. And they're old school and they're really cool looking, so, of course, you gotta run Dissipate. It's still really good. And now, why you run blue-white instead of blue-white red? So, Jerry Thompson posted an article pretty much saying, why are you running the red? If you read my little post, you probably saw me talk about it, but I'm gonna say it again here. There's just no reason for it. Like, Pillar's bad now, Tournament's good, but it's too slow, and Warrior's Helix is pretty much the only great one in a deck like that, and I just don't think that that's enough. I shouldn't be splashing the entire color and making my mana base worse just for like, Warrior's Helix and Assemble in the sideboard and stuff like that. So, you get more sweepers as a result. I don't like the 4 Verdict anyway. My brother is borrowing the 4th and 5th Verdict. Not borrowing, but he's using them. I wouldn't run it anyway, I don't think. I don't know. Like, Verdict's gotten worse. Too many people are like playing like main deck stuff to answer it. I love Terminus though. Like, 2 of, he's great. I run a 3rd one on the board. That card just ends ban hexproof. I have so many answers in the main deck to ban hexproof. All the aggro decks right now, like, you can just think choice into Terminus, it's great. I might even, like, recommend cutting, if you want to cut the Tamiya and run a 3rd Terminus, I wouldn't hate you. No one would. It is a really powerful card right now. But you have to run at least 3 Verdict. There are some decks where, like, Terminus isn't going to matter. And, like, you should probably just run probably just have the, like, Verdict is still good on turn 4, and Terminus, if you have it in your opener, can suck. But, man, when you can Miracle this card, it's pretty incredible. And then 2 Oblivion Ring. So you lose answers, obviously, when you cut the red. So you compensate for running 2 enchantment removal spells. This can be Oblivion Ring or Detention Sphere. I went with Oblivion Ring so I can run Renounce in the sideboard, and I like Renounce a lot. It's good in several matchups. I like 2. And plus, I don't think it really matters. Like, you're rarely going to run in that situation where your opponent's going to be like, like, Lingering Souls isn't a really dominating card anymore. No one goes like double voice and you get them with the D-Sphere. It doesn't really happen that much. It's really just it dominating those Planeswalkers that keep coming up, and that's what I like about this deck a lot. It can answer those decks way better. And yeah, I really do like Oblivion Ring, and I run extra on the sideboard. But But if this is Detention Sphere, it'd be fine. I don't know. I like the fact that I can answer Detention Spheres, and their Detention Spheres can answer my Oblivion Rings, to be fair, but I don't know. I don't really seem to mind that at all. So we're running high on time, so I'm going to quickly get to the mana base. We're going to start at the bottom, actually. My Good Luck Azorius Guildgate, you kind of want, you kind of have a really low mana dual lands here, so, you know, Azorius Guildgate's fine. 4 Glacier Fortress, 4 Hallowed Fountain, no duh. 8 Islands, 6 Plains, and then Moorland Haunt and a Ghost Quarter. Ghost Quarter is pretty good. Moorland Haunt instead of Mutavault. Some people are like, oh, run Mutavault, run Mutavault. Someone asked me. I mean, you're playing the defensive role. I can't stress enough. This is not a flash deck. This is a control deck. Strictly control based. You're winning with Aetherling. If you're not, you're winning with Tamiyo. If you're not, then you're not doing it right. Sometimes you're going to win with Restoration Angel. You're going to get lucky. It's not going to happen often. So really, you just want blockers, and Moorland Haunt just does a way better job than Mutavault there. That's the blue-white deck. I've gone 3-1-1, 4-1-1, 2-1, intentional draw. Actually, it was here are my results: 4-1-1, 3-1-2, and 6-1-1 at FNMs and Monday Night Magics. The standard league I'm part of. So this deck is very good. It's very powerful. You could run Jace over Tamiyo. You could change a couple cards on this list. But as long as you understand that your role here is not to be a flash deck, you're a control deck, you're not beating it with Restoration Angels, you're not trying to, get fancy with, what you're doing, you're going to do fine with this deck, especially if you're able to play blue a lot. But I'm gonna sign off now because I've let this go on a little bit long. But this is Paki Naruto, and I will see you guys later.